Yeah. Are you sure? Okay. Let's start it out with this. Let's have a dose of reality. One, I want to invite you guys to let go of assumptions. I want to invite you to let go of whether a conversation is good or bad, whether a conversation is right or wrong. There are no rights and wrongs, no goods and bads, not in this, because we're going to get into a part of life that we don't talk about enough in real estate. And so let's start out with this. How many of you know that you need to make more phone calls? Yeah, come on. Yeah, I mean, be honest, right? Okay. How many of you know that you need to knock on more doors or whatever, right? How many of you know that you need, I know Meredith's going, right? How many of you know that you need to do more of whatever lead generation piece that you have found? How many of you know that you know, if you're into video, how many of you know you need to do more videos, right? I mean, here's the reality of this process. And do we all know what we need to do? Yes? Why do we not do it? So here's what I hear is that you need to become someone who knows something more in depth to put it into effect. That be accurate? Okay. All right. Awesome. What else? Why else do we not do the things that we know we need to do?
Fear, 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 fear.
Fear. Okay. All right. So, Sean, let's go there for a second. What gets in the way of us doing something that we're scared of doing?
I think for a lot of people that it's fear. It's just hard, it's hard to get started. It's fear of rejection. I think is the biggest thing. I think that's the absolute biggest thing. Whether you knock on a door or whether you tap on somebody's shoulder in the line at Safeway or whatever your local grocery store is, or whether you cold call on the phone, or even if you pick up the phone and call a referral. I mean, for God's sakes, there's always that little something going through your blood that says, oh, what if I fail? What if, all the fear.
All right.
I think that's the
So
biggest one.
What I hear you saying is that you need to become the person who's not afraid of failing. Does anybody see the pattern that we're developing here, by the way?
Yeah, it comes through confidence in what you're doing and learning the stuff and taking the time to build the structure. And that's what it's been for me. In the beginning, it was like, I know nothing about this business. You learn more and more and you get better at it, having the conversations.
So becoming the person you need to be to do the things you need to do. Everybody getting the
Bingo.
pattern?
Yeah,
Yeah,
bingo.
right.
Hmm?
Or is this sinking in? Anybody figure it out yet? Why do we not do the things that we know we need to do?
Don't know what to do in fear.
Because we're not the person we need to be to do them. Think about that for a second. All right. Let's have some fun with this. Okay. I'm gonna do a whiteboard over here. All right. Everybody see this? Good. Okay. I want you to get out a piece of paper, right? And I want you, let's see, hold on. Let me do this. There we go. Come on. There we go. All right. I want you to draw a line. Okay. And what I want you to do is come here and I want you to put a 0 right there. Okay. And then down here on this end, okay, I want you to put a 10. Yeah, whoop. Okay. All right. Now here's what I want you to do on this line. On a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to put on here an overall view of who you are in relation to who you want to be 5 years from now. Are you a 10? Are you there? Are you a 2 and you're on your path? Are you a 5 on your path? Are you a 7? Whatever it is, I want you to put down where you are on your path. Okay. So who's got it? Who's got one? Give me some numbers.
I'm a 4.
4. All right. Perfect. What else?
I'm a
A
5.
2.5. That's pretty specific, Meredith. I like that. That's good. A 2.5. Okay. What else?
I'm a 5.
Okay. A 5. Thanks, Drew.
3.
Okay. 3. All right. Anybody above a 5?
I'm a 6.
Wait a minute. All right. 6. Perfect. Good. Anybody a 10, by the way? Okay. If you're a 10, you probably shouldn't be on this call. Right? let's be honest. Okay, here's what I
How
want you
boring.
to do.
That would be boring to be a 10.
You know, you're right, right? Because what happens if you're a 10? Where's the growth in life? What happens at that point in time? I don't know, right? All right, here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna get you 3 boxes. We're gonna start with these. Take that first box and write down a couple of things that you need to stop doing in your life. What do you need to stop doing? I know for me, here's what I need to stop doing. I need to stop saying yes too much. Anybody else in that category? Yeah. Okay. On this second column, I want you to put a few things that you need to start doing. For me, it'd do this, right? No. How many of you have somebody that comes into your daily life or something and says, will you do this? And because you're nice, you say yes. Yes. And especially if it doesn't fit with where you need to go. Okay. So we've got all of these numbers, right? Okay. I think our cutoff was about here. So here's what I want you to do. On this line, stop, start. Okay. If you're looking at your list and you're looking at something like this, you've got whatever it is that you've circled on here, and maybe you're in here in this right there, right? You've got your stop pieces. Give me some things that you need to stop. What do you need to stop? Give me some examples of that.
I think one thing is, like you said, saying yes to everything.
Okay.
Being so easily distracted.
Oh, there you go. Distractions. Okay.
And consistency.
All right.
Procrastination.
Procrastination. Yeah. Okay.
I'm a pro at like making myself busy during the time it's supposed to be. Like the other night, I literally was washing off silk plants because I didn't want to do those. I caught myself going, oh my God, this is so ridiculous.
Would that be something like busy versus productive?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else have any?
Scrolling.
Scrolling. Yeah. Social media, right? Okay. What do you need to start doing?
Gaining the skills, like for example, setting time to do the course and then buying it, because I'm still going back to when Victoria did her class for us that one day, where every time I'm on a call, I'll write down the name of a person or a few people that I want to just like follow on Instagram and friend and start to like connect with our group. And I still like on the side, the column of my paper, I have the name and I still haven't done it like on any of them. And it's like, I'm so busy rushing to do the next thing that I'm not doing the things right in front of me.
Priorities, right? Okay. I'm going to give that another word in just a second. Okay, what else?
That the word priority actually, it was never intended to be plural. I believe it is a Greek word, and it is priority. It is only to be one. It was never intended from the root of the word to be many things. It is truly to be one thing that we're focusing on versus priorities that we think that we do so much.
Good point. Yeah.
I had a lot of that, so there you go. That's a lot of education. Just want to throw that out. There's my 2 cents.
How do you do 2 things at one time well?
You don't. You don't.
How many people think they're good at multitasking?
Nope.
Because if anybody said yes to that, you're full of it.
You'll do 2 things half-ass.
You got it. That's
instead
right.
of one thing at a time, full ass.
Yep. All right. So give me a couple more starts.
Time management.
Okay.
Organization.
Okay. What else?
Using your schedule.
You have one of those?
I do, but I double book myself quite often, and that is as a no. You can't do 2 things at once, apparently.
Yeah. You can't, right? I mean, not well. Can you do 2 things? Sure you can. But multitasking is one of the biggest myths ever. You realize that the highest level of computers still only do one thing at a time. They do it fast, but one thing at a time, right? Okay. So you ready for this one? Here's your next one. If you did these things, what would change? What would your results be? If you stopped doing just one or two of those things and started doing one or two of those, what would the results be for you?
Progress for sure.
Okay, define progress.
For me, and looking at that, slowly achieving your goals, you're going to get better in everything you're setting skills and prioritizing, using your time for, organizing and scheduling for.
Okay. All right, get better. What else?
For me, it's more production and plus more time with my family.
More production. Okay. More family time. Okay.
Better cash flow.
Okay. Better cash flow.
Consistent cash flow.
Okay. Consistent cash flow.
Actually good listings instead of the crappy ones that I have right now.
Good listings. Okay.
I found needles yesterday, Victoria. Needles. Okay.
I've been there.
So let me ask you guys a question. If you look at those results, are those results thrilling for you? Does that thrill you? Better cash flow. If I say, okay, you're going to have better cash flow, does that just excite you? Is you full of energy and jumps out of bed?
Yes.
Does it really?
Mine was financial freedom, to be honest with
Okay.
you.
Okay. All right.
Not
I'm gonna ask that in a second. I'm gonna hold on just a second. Let me financial freedom. I like that because these are great. You know what I hear in this? What's that say?
Vague.
How do you ever get excited over something vague? Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy. Huh. Think about that for a second. Does something vague excite you? Really?
Not really.
Not really. Are you back off? Are you off the screen now, by the way?
Yeah.
Are you back?
It's like the concept of those things is what financial freedom and like retiring my husband from a psychotic business partner. It is those things, but really waking up and saying, you know, I am in the process of doing this. And it starts with every phone call and every thing that you finish on what you need to start.
So go into that a little bit more, because here's what I want you to do. So all of you that wrote down something in the results piece, make that extremely specific. If you said more time with your family, Victoria, how much time and when?
Evenings,
If you said
dinner. Yeah.
okay, when? What time?
6 o'clock.
Okay. All right. If you said financial freedom, what's that mean? What's the specific in that? How much is that? If you said better listings, define that. How much of a listing? How many listings? At what price range on average?
Oh, that's really
Anybody been to Vegas? Vegas, by the way? Okay, so we're going to have a little play on Vegas. What happens in vagueness stays in vagueness. You guys got that? What happens in vagueness stays in vagueness. You got that, right? Because if we don't have something, and by the way, all of you have gone through goal setting exercises before, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of you have set a goal of selling 20 houses at an average $400,000 over the next 12 months, right? Why didn't you do it? I'll give you two things. One, because that's not a vision big enough to excite you and thrill you and pull you to it. Whatever that goal was that you just set. And here's the second thing. We didn't have a commitment to actually do something to progress to where we need to be to do that. And let me give you the commitment thing too. How many of you can give me a definition of integrity? What's integrity mean? Victoria, you gotta be quiet. You can't answer this question.
Keeping your word to yourself.
Keeping your word to yourself. Okay, let me give you an example just from me. So About a month or so ago, I was asked by Janie to get the Halloween box out of the garage and go find it. And I said, honey, I'm going to go get the Halloween box out of the garage. A week later, guess what she asked me? Will you go get the Halloween box so that I can decorate the house? Yes, honey, I'll go get the Halloween box. Is this kind of familiar? Is this a conversation that people have had? Yeah. See some of you going like this, right? A week later, guess what? Honey, don't worry. I'm going to go get the Halloween box. You know what integrity is? Doing what you say by when you're going to say it. What's missing in honey, I'm going to go get the Halloween box?
Right now.
Time, right? By when? You know when that changed? Is when I came back in and I said, honey, I'm going to get the Halloween box down by noon today. When was it down, by the way? Before noon, right? Guys, that's integrity. By the way, is integrity good or bad? Don't judge integrity, because integrity could be bad, right? By that definition, right? Hannibal Lecter said he was going to eat you, and he did. That's integrity. Right? I mean, let's be honest. That's integrity by that definition. So you've got to make sure that your integrity, and if you also notice what we went through back there, right? We went through a lot of things of starting things. We went through a lot of those, all of those things were in vagueness, weren't they? When are you going to start doing those? When are you going to stop doing those things? Does everybody see this piece? Do you realize, can anybody look back over their life and find a time where you said, I'm going to do this, but didn't do it? Everybody, right? How many of you had a career at one time or were thinking about your life and your future saying, I'm going to do this, and didn't do it? If we all went back 10, 15, 20 years and looked at the promises that we made and the goals that we set over time, would any of you be on this call? Would your life be different at this time? Right? So how do we go from where we are now, this piece of reality, to where the vision is and figure out what the gap is? Well, there's only one way to do it. And it starts with this vision piece, right? Because let's go back to that. If we have, again, 20 homes, 400 on average in the next 12 months, even if it's 100 homes, $1 million on average, whatever it happens to be, what needs to change between where you are now and hitting whatever big goal that you have? So it's a couple of things. One, is your vision big enough to get you out of bed in the morning, excited? What's energy based off of? Are you excited about your damn day? Right? How many of you get up? How many of you sometimes get up and say, oh God, right? I mean, come on, right? Why? Because your vision is not pulling you out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. This makes sense? In other words, it doesn't have a passionate piece. But wait a minute, who was it that said something about priority being one, singular? Who was that? Was that Helen Ann? Was that you? Said that? Okay. So let's talk about passion. What's passion mean? Talk about the original word. The Latin word for passion is facile. P-A-S-S-I-O. What's it mean? To suffer. So much for the flowery version of passion, right? That we all talk about. Passion in the truest sense is to suffer. Vision, having a big enough vision where you have the passion to change who you are to get there and achieve it. Are you willing to get up? One, is your vision big enough to pull you out of bed at 4 o'clock because you just can't sleep anymore because you're excited and have the energy to get up?
It's so true.
Right? Do you have the passion in that vision that you're willing to suffer through the growth process to become who you have to be to achieve your vision? Because is growth ugly or messy? It can be ugly, right? Sean, when we're talking about who it is, Diane, who it is that we need to be to make those things happen, here's the piece of this too. When you look at what gets in our way, one, it's the vision piece, because we don't have, most of the time, we go through life without a big enough vision that we're willing to suffer to achieve. It's not exciting. We don't get out of bed. We'll give you guys some homework, by the way, too. Okay. There's also 3 things that get in the way. And this goes to what you were talking about, Sean, right? One is we all want to look good. How many of you wake up in the morning and think about what you're going to put on? Go on, be nice. You know, you go in your closet, you look at what you're going to do, right? Okay, right? Okay. How many of you have fallen off of a bicycle when you were learning to ride it? Or even after you learned to ride it? What's the first thing you did when you fall off? You looked around to see who saw you fall. And then you started crying. Once you figured out somebody actually saw you, right? Watch kids when they fall off a bike. Watch what they do. We have a tendency to want to look good. We also have a tendency to want to feel good. Again, is growth easy? No. We are comfortable sitting where we are, right? When growth becomes uncomfortable, that's a key. That means we're actually growing. But if we want to feel good, that gets in the way of growing, doesn't it? Right? And the other one, how many of you want to be right? How many of you kids? Kids? Okay, if you're having a session with them, and here, let me give you this one. Any of you had a kid that you gave a curfew to at one time? No. Okay, all right, so you ready? Curfew's at 10 o'clock. Let's go 11 o'clock. It's today's world. All right, Jack, you got to be back by 11 o'clock. Right? Sue, you got to be back by 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. So y'all are sitting in the living room at 10:30 and you're starting to watch your clock, right? 10:35, watching your clock. I don't know. 10:45, you're watching your clock. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. 10:50, you're watching your clock up there. Pushing it. 10:55. Man, I'm getting angry at this point in time. I knew this would happen. 10:59, he walks through the door. Cutting a little close, aren't you? Think about that for a second. Did he do exactly what you expected? Was he late? No. Did exactly what you wanted to do, but what did you do? You had to be right. Cutting a little close, right? Instead of going, well done, bud. Great time management. Anybody done that before? Come on, be honest, right? I mean, if you got kids, yeah, right? Okay. We want to look good, we want to feel good, and we want to be right. All of that gets in the way of us suffering, looking stupid, and willing to fail. Doesn't it? When you find the vision that you are willing to look stupid for, because you're learning and growing, to suffer for, because now it's got the energy getting you out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning to go do the things that you haven't done before, and failing on a daily basis because you're doing something new and growing. Then you have your vision. Then you have the thing that's going to pull you to become the person that you need to be to achieve it. So remember the number that you gave earlier? What would make you a 10 on your list? So get your paper back out again. Okay, that's all right. What would make you, if you look at what you did earlier, that little exercise with the 3 boxes, what would make you a 10? And here's what I want you to do. On your 10 list, the results, if you became a 10, I want at least 3 things that are specific on that results list that would happen if you went from a 2.5 to a 10, a 6 to a 10. What are 3 things that are specific that would be the results if you became that 10? Give you a second to do that. What would change in your life? Would you have to spend with your family? How much money would you be making? How many homes would you be selling? How many investment properties would you have? I want specifics, by the way. No vagueness. We're not in Las Vegas anymore. Las Vegas. I'm going to make that a shirt, by the way. We do not live in Las Vegas. There's an N in there for those who've missed that piece, right? Maybe that could be our new hashtag, right? No more Las Vegas. All right, give me a couple of them. Whoever wants to share. Wow. It's safe.
I'll
There's
go.
no good. All
I'll
right,
go.
go ahead.
If I was a 10, I would have 40 million in sales.
Okay. All right. So what would that do for you, Drew?
It would make it so that I would be able to have time with my family because I would have the financial freedom to have more of a team around me. It would make it so that I could retire my husband and bring him over to the business full time. It would alleviate all these kids going to college and paying for it.
Okay.
I think your overall being would change because if you've set the goal and you've accomplished the goal. I think your overall feeling about yourself would change, if that makes sense.
So you would change.
Yeah, I would definitely change.
Okay. There's more to this questioning, but we'll go there. Who else wants to? Because I'm gonna come back to you in a second. What else? Give me another one. Man, y'all are quiet.
For me, mine is making my calls and doing like my door knocking in my neighborhood.
What would that lead to, Diane?
The listings that I need.
Tell me about that. How much? How many?
So my goal by the end of the year is have 1 listing sell in November and 1 in December. But then by February, I want to be selling 3 a month. And January 3 and February 4.
Okay.
And so it's like, I figure I have to make 30 calls a day for 2 appointments a week.
Okay.
And by February, that would mean I could cap. And by the end of the year, I want to have my 5 agents under me
End of this year or next year?
this year. So right now I have 2 under me. I want to get 3 more by the end of December. And so,
And
and calling at least 5 agents a day to get
How would
appointments.
that affect your life? How would that affect your
I
life?
think it would really make me feel better about myself because I would be making progress toward the goal. I want to retire in 5 years and
Okay.
myself, but more importantly, retire my husband.
Okay. So what's that look like? What do you have to do to, let's stay there for a second. What do you have to do to retire your husband? What's that? What's the specific number that you've got to get to?
I have to probably replace 150,000 a year.
Okay. So 150 a year.
I'm not
And when do you want to do that?
within 5 years.
5 years. Okay.
Not to be that hard.
Who do you have to become to make that happen? What has to change for you? Who is Diane?
I think I've gotten really hung up on not getting the stuff done. So I think I just need to be in motion every day I'm setting the times for my modules, how many modules I'm going to do a day for the training. And then.
So I'm gonna cut you off. So you need to be someone who commits to doing something on a time frame.
Yeah, I have to have checklists and specific stuff written down every day or I won't get it done.
Okay. All right. So think about this. So with Diane and Drew, and this is with all of you who have just come up with your list. And that's where I want to go with, Diane, Drew, you guys think about this. Who do you have to become between the person that you are now and the person who achieves those things? What's the difference in that person? Let me give you 2 more things. That's your 10, right? What if that were your 2? That person were your 2? What if that person was actually your 2? What would your 10 look like now?
By then, I mean, be leading your team and being the example to all those people that you're recruiting, and you're showing them how to do what you are doing now. Because they're going to be looking at you going, how did you get there? And you're going to go, well.
You've got to build a team. You've got to pour into other people. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I saw a big smile on Drew. She's like, when I said that becomes your 10. She went. So here's what I want you to say. So Drew, that feeling that you just had, that's what you want from your vision. Because the one the second ago didn't have the same result on your face. Right? The one a second ago didn't get you up at 4 a.m. this morning. That one would. Who do you have to become? Now, here's the next question. Who says that you can't become that 10 today? Right now. Who says that that 10 is not who you are right now? That those commitments start now. That vision pulls you out of bed. That's the vision that you want to come up with. The one that gets you up. The one that gives you the energy that you didn't have yesterday. And it ought to scare you a little. It ought to make you go, a little bit nausea in there, right? Some of you are going, oh, yeah, I got that. I see you down there, right? Because that's what comes up with things. Here's why we have so much technical training in real estate and an 85% failure rate. Because we know how to do calls. We know what we need to do. We know we need to do videos. We know we need to do our sphere of influence. We know we need to do open houses. We know we need to go door knock, right? The challenge is we don't have the vision that's pulling us to become the person we need to be to go do these things. If those are the things that really are going to thrill you to be able to look silly. What? Anybody else? Suffer and fail without worry. When you come up with the thing that you're going to do there, all of a sudden everything else, you're gonna get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever your time is, right? I just use that one just for fun. You're gonna have your 4 a.m. wake up, and you're not gonna be able to sleep when you wake up because your brain's going, let's go. Let's go. That's what's getting in the way of all of us. It's finding that peace. All right. Guys, we are going to do more of this. Has this been a little bit different than how to do another call? Yeah. If we don't become who we need to become to achieve our vision, we'll never make the calls.
So true.
We won't. So let me give you this. Every experience you are having is an experience you are. Every experience you are having is an experience you are, you might want to guess, creating. Your life is working exactly the way you want it to. Oh, now some of you are thinking, all right, not sure if I like you anymore. Every system works the way everyone in the system wants it to.
I'll see you. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. All of that is based on language. And we're going to talk about that as well. Okay. All right, y'all. It is 12:50 Eastern time. Any thoughts or comments on this? Different conversation in real estate, isn't it?
I think Victoria
I'm
nailed
fairly
it.
stressed. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Victoria nailed it in the chat earlier when she said discipline. You know, we hear this over and over and over about what we need to do. You need to make the calls, knock on the doors, practice your scripts, you know, learn everything you need to do to work with a buyer, everything you need to do to work with a seller, build your database, you know, you got to start somewhere. It's discipline. You got to do it. You can hear it 100 times if you never start the ball rolling at, I guess, whatever you're most comfortable with, which in my advice would be working on your database and building that. You know, that's where I learned. But it's discipline for sure.
Yeah.
Got to be the person that's willing to make the commitments with integrity. And that's got to fit into your vision. That's going to pull you to be able to be that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drew, you had something.
Oh, I'm just thoroughly stressed out now. That's okay. I got this.
Are you a little nauseous in here?
Yeah, I'm panicking a bit, but it's okay. It's okay. All right, that's good.
I like
it's good
that.
to be uncomfortable.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
If
Has anybody ever heard the term, you know, master? You want to master something? What happens when you master something?
it becomes easy.
Really?
It
Becomes easy, and then what happens? And then what happens?
Then you pick something harder. You keep.
No, wait, you mastered it. Hold on, go Victor. So it becomes easy, and then what happens?
Sabotage.
You get comfortable, don't you? Right?
Yeah.
And then what happens to your growth when you master something?
Stagnate.
I'm stagnant.
Don't ever master something, guys.
Yeah.
Ever. Because guess what? Anybody heard of retirement? Yeah. When do people die?
They retire.
When they retire.
So
Yeah.
true.
Right? I mean, change those words, right? All right. So Victoria, you were going to say something else.
I forgot what I was going to say. It was kind of, if this helps anyone. So I had a really good second and third year of real estate because of the market was insane, right? So I noticed when there was a shift, I had to go back to Real Estate 101 and actually learn tools, which led to a real estate coach, which led to Rockstar Agent, ABCMD. And I am super, and you listen, if you want to fight me on this, because I come from a different generation, I'm super ADHD. And if you think that's not a thing, we can talk after and I'll tell you how you're wrong, because I was also an educator and a math teacher and I see the difference, but I'm very unorganized. If you have a better idea and my friends would call me for lunch, I'm like, oh, I'm there, whatever, you can distract me. So I started setting alarms because I wanted to be a listing agent. Buyers have worn me out. So I take 2 buyers at a time. That's it. I have transferred everything into listings now, but I stick to my schedule during the day. I don't go out and have fun. And it's lead gen from 8:30 to noon. And all my lead gen daily looks a little bit different than the next day, but I'm done by 4:30. I set all my appointments strictly between 1 and 4:30. I stick to that schedule. There are a few exceptions, and you guys know what those are. So that may help someone here. And I set my alarm. And if I'm in the middle of something, I'm done with it till the next day because I can't, listen, that market stressed me out. I didn't see my family. I didn't spend my son's birthday with him like that. Come on, you know, you don't want to be like that. It's not worth it. So write your schedule down, but I was going to ask you, Rob, what's our homework?
Okay. So your homework is to take yourself and put yourself 12 months from now. Helen Ann, we talked about this, right? And what I want you to do is I want you to look back and just kind of imagine yourself in 12 months and you're having a celebration. And it was the best 12 months you've ever had. Ever. Made the money you wanted to make, did the things you wanted to do. And I want you to come up with, what does that look like? What are you celebrating? What are we celebrating in 12 months? Not from the point of, well, I want to do this and this is what I want. You did it. You did it. Man, that was fantastic. I made $500,000 this year. Oh my gosh, I just sold 50 homes at whatever, right? I helped 12 people become lead, whatever it happens to be. I want you to write those down. Okay? I want you to write those down.